Picture this. You're sitting at a red light, looking at the car next to you, and here's what you don't know. There's a 1 in 5 chance that driver is bleeding over $1,000 every single month just for the privilege of sitting in that seat. $1,000 every single month. That's not a mortgage payment in most of America. That's just what it costs them to get to work and back. Stay with me here, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change how you see every parking lot, every highway, every driveway in your neighborhood. You're about to understand why your financial anxiety isn't imaginary. It's because the entire system has gone completely insane, and I've got the receipts to prove it. If this resonates with you already, hit that like button. Trust me, you'll want to share this with anyone you know who's thinking about buying a car. Let me paint you a picture with some numbers that'll make your head spin. Right now, as you're watching this, the average new car payment in America is $745. But that's just the average. That's the number they use to make things sound reasonable. Here's what they don't want you to focus on. Nearly 20% of new car loans now exceed $1,000 monthly. 20%! Walk through any parking lot. Count 10 newer cars. 2 of those drivers are hemorrhaging more than $1,000 every month. But wait, it gets worse. Over 22% of buyers are now signing up for 84-month loans. 84 months! That's 7 years. 7 years! You could literally watch a baby grow up and enter 2nd grade in the time it takes to pay off that car. A car that lost 20% of its value the second you drove it off the lot. Think about this for a second. We're financing cars for longer than most marriages last, longer than people stay at their jobs, almost as long as it takes to get through medical school, for something that's basically worthless by the time you're done paying for it. Here's a stat that should terrify you. Only 10% of new car payments are under $400, while nearly 18% are over $1,000. You're literally twice as likely to meet someone drowning in a 4-figure car payment than someone with a reasonable one. How did we get here? How did we go from a world where a $500 payment was considered steep to one where $1,000 barely raises an eyebrow? The average new car now costs just under $50,000. $50,000! That's more than the median household income in entire states. People in Mississippi make less in a year than what we're casually dropping on something to sit in traffic. But here's where it gets truly insane. The average amount people are actually financing has climbed to over $42,000. That's an all-time high. Meanwhile, the average down payment has dropped to around $6,400. So we're borrowing more while putting down less. It's financial suicide in slow motion. Remember those 0% financing deals that used to be everywhere? Gone. Vanished. Less than 1% of all car loans now. The average interest rate has climbed to 7.2% for new cars, nearly 12% for used. 12%! If you're finding value in this reality check, please subscribe. I break down financial insanity like this every week, and trust me, you need someone keeping you sane in this crazy economy. Here's the trap that's catching millions of Americans right now. 26.6% of trade-ins have negative equity. That's more than 1 in 4 people who owe more on their car than it's worth. The average negative equity? Nearly $7,000. Let me explain this nightmare scenario. You buy a car with a small down payment and a long loan. The car depreciates faster than you pay it down. Now you're underwater. A few years later, you need a different car, but you owe more than your current one is worth. That debt doesn't disappear. It rolls into your new loan. Nearly a third of these underwater trade-ins have between $5,000 and $10,000 in negative equity. Almost a quarter have over $10,000. Imagine walking into a dealership already $10,000 in the hole, then taking on an even bigger loan. It's quicksand, and the more you struggle, the deeper you sink. The average payment for someone rolling negative equity into a new loan? $915. And they're essentially paying for two cars, the one they're driving and the ghost of the car they used to own. What's truly bizarre is this isn't just about luxury cars anymore. People are dropping four figures monthly on pickup trucks, family SUVs, vehicles that were mainstream just a few years ago. The psychological shift has been remarkable. We've normalized the idea that transportation should consume a massive chunk of household income. Would you finance a TV for 7 years? Would you roll negative equity from your old refrigerator into a new one? Of course not. But with cars, all logic flies out the window. Here's what kills me. Many of these buyers could afford reasonable transportation. But the difference between a base model and what people actually buy averages $11,500. That's 33% over the starting price. This isn't keeping up with the Joneses anymore. It's keeping up with a version of the Joneses that can't afford their lifestyle either. Now let's talk about who can actually afford these payments. Financial experts say car payments shouldn't exceed 15% of your monthly take-home pay. So for a $1,000 payment to make sense, you'd need about $6,700 in monthly take-home. That's roughly $100,000 to $120,000 in annual gross income. The median household income in America? $84,000. Half of all households make less than that. So right away, we know most people taking these payments absolutely cannot afford them. Let's get specific. Maryland has the highest median income at $94,000. Even there, the median household would be stretching for a $1,000 payment. Mississippi, with the lowest at $45,000, that payment would be over a quarter of their entire gross income. That's not a car payment, that's financial destruction. Generation X leads this insanity with 11% carrying at least one payment over $1,000 monthly. They're peak earners, sure, but also peak spenders. Baby boomers follow at 8.6%, millennials at 8%. Gen Z is at 3%. Give them time. They'll catch up to their financially reckless elders. Here's something wild. People with excellent credit are more likely to have these massive payments, not because they're wealthier, but because banks will happily lend them enough rope to hang themselves with. Texas leads the nation with 13% of loan holders making 1,000-plus payments. Nevada, Wyoming, Georgia follow. These aren't the wealthiest states. They just have cultures that worship big vehicles and aren't shy about financing them. If this is making you rethink your transportation choices, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Seriously, you might save them from financial disaster. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Take a couple making $120,000 combined. Sounds good, right? After taxes and deductions, they're taking home about $85,000 annually, or $7,100 monthly. A $1,000 car payment is 14% of their take-home, right at the edge of reasonable. But here's where it falls apart. That $1,000, that's just the loan. Insurance on a new vehicle? Add $200 to $300 monthly. Fuel? Another $200. Maintenance? Even new cars needed. Another $100 monthly. Your $1,000 payment is actually a $1,500 transportation bill. Now it's eating 21% of their income for one car. Most families need two vehicles. Both partners with $1,000 payments? Now you're at $2,000 just in loans, 28% of income. Add insurance for both, $600 to $800 more. Suddenly, transportation is consuming 35 to 40% of household income. Remember, this couple makes well above the median, and they're already in dangerous territory. Add housing, 25 to 35% of income. Childcare in metro areas, $1,500 to $3,000 monthly. Healthcare, student loans, the 15 to 20% you should save for retirement. Suddenly, that six-figure income isn't looking so comfortable. Even households with above-average incomes find themselves crushed when they prioritize car payments over building wealth, saving for emergencies, or investing for their future. There's something about car shopping that turns rational people into financial daredevils. Maybe it's the new car smell, the status, the way dealerships make everything seem affordable when broken into monthly chunks. The truth? Very few Americans can actually afford a new car without financial pain. The 24-10 rule says 20% down, 4-year loan, no more than 10% of monthly income. That couple making 120, they should be looking at 700 monthly, not 1,000. But people don't want conservative guidelines for cars. They want the latest tag, the highest safety ratings, the most luxurious interiors. They'll stretch budgets, telling themselves they're investing in safety and reliability. Dealerships love this. Concerned about safety? This model has 17 more airbags and collision avoidance that prevents accidents not yet invented. That's an extra $15,000. Can you really put a price on family safety? Let's do the real math. 1,000 monthly for 7 years equals 84,000. 84 for something worth maybe 20,000 at the end. You're paying 64,000 for the privilege of driving a depreciating asset. That 84,000 invested at 8% annually, you'd have over 130,000 after 7 years. Instead, you have a 7-year-old car needing new tires and probably transmission work. Many luxury buyers are older folks who've paid off homes, freeing up cash flow. When you're not making mortgage payments, 1,000 for a car seems reasonable. These buyers have accumulated wealth. They can genuinely afford it. But that's a small segment. The concerning trend is younger buyers and middle-income families stretching beyond their means. They need reliable transportation. They want safety for their family. They got a promotion and feel they deserve it. Whatever the reason, they're deciding based on monthly affordability, not total cost. We don't ask how much anymore. We ask how much per month. Your brain processes 1,000 monthly very differently than 84,000 total. The finance industry exploits this brilliantly. Payment calculators breaking costs into manageable chunks. Extended warranties, gap insurance, protection packages, adding another 100 or two, presented as just small additional monthly costs. Before you know it, your reasonable vehicle became a premium-priced albatross around your financial neck. So who can actually afford these $1,000 payments? The uncomfortable truth? Very few genuinely can. Yet millions sign anyway. The math doesn't lie, even when we desperately want it to. Look, if you're watching this feeling good about your modest payment, congratulations on maintaining sanity in an insane world. If you're currently making a 4-figure payment wondering how you got here, at least you're not alone in this particular madness. Here's what I want you to remember. Real wealth isn't built impressing strangers at red lights. It's built by making boring, sensible decisions that compound over time. That person next to you in traffic with the fancy car, there's a good chance they're one paycheck away from disaster, drowning in debt they'll spend the better part of a decade escaping. You want to know the real status symbol in 2025? It's not the car you drive, it's the peace of mind that comes from not owing anyone $1,000 every month for a depreciating asset. It's the freedom to lose your job without losing everything. It's the ability to actually build wealth instead of just looking wealthy. If this video opens your eyes, do me a favor. Like it, share it with someone who needs this wake-up call. Subscribe if you want more financial reality checks that cut through the noise and tell you what's actually happening with your money. Because here's the thing, they're counting on you not doing the math. They're betting you'll focus on the monthly payment instead of the total cost. They're hoping you'll value appearance over financial security. Prove them wrong. Your future self will thank you when you're building wealth instead of building someone else's through interest payments. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. Remember, every $1,000 payment is $1,000 not going toward your retirement, your kids' education, your actual dreams. Don't let a car payment be the anchor that drowns your financial future. That's the real cost nobody talks about. Now you know. What you do with this knowledge, that's up to you.